an animal stuck in a cage and I'm ready to break out. My time. None of you people can tell me to stop. This time, like the last time, you better get ready to race to the top. I'm ready to do this. Show you what the truth.
We are live from Abyssinia Stadium in Wilmington, Delaware. This is the A7FL Games of the Week on Stadium. I'm Matt Ryan. I'm back in the booth with two of my favorite human beings in the world, LJ Smith and Corey Hammond. Boys, how you doing? 2 weeks ago, we saw some amazing football. The BIC versus the Patterson U, the game we just saw here on Stadium, and if you missed that game, what's wrong with you, first of all? You missed an absolute football clinic, and you can watch that game back anytime, though, gentlemen, at watchstadium.com. If you're watching us on television, click in there, bookmark it, and watch it. Go to watchstadium.com/A7FL. But, gentlemen, we have a barn burner. We have two barn burner games today. We're going to start things off with the Baltimore Gators making their way up I-95 and the Trenton BIC making their way down I-95.
That's right.
To face off here in our first game at Abyssinia, a beautiful facility, a tremendous facility.
Amazing. Here
in Wilmington, Delaware. I want to get your thoughts, first of all. BIC last week getting a huge win 2 weeks ago against the Patterson U. The first time the Patterson U have been defeated since the 2019 championship game. Corey, me and you called that game. What were your thoughts on seeing that Patterson U dynasty kind of come apart at the seams 2 weeks ago?
Well, we said come apart at the seams just now, right? And we were talking about BIC, which we're really excited to see what they can do after that week. But with the U, who's going to be playing at 4 o'clock, we're saying that they came apart at the seams. They lost by 2 to one of the best teams that we've seen in recent A7FL history. Yeah. Right. The U did not play their best game. They showed vulnerability in 2 consecutive games against these Gators that we'll see against BIC and against BIC 2 weeks ago, that their their offensive line is allowing defensive pressure on their quarterback, which was kind of showing maybe a chink in the armor. And they scored 48 points against BIC, whose defense looked at times to be one of, if not the premier defense, at least in this Northeast division that we've seen so far. So to put it into context, it's a shocking thing to see a team that's been so great and undefeated for so long lose. But when we really put it into perspective, one of their worst games that we've seen in recent history, they only lost by 2 to a great team.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing about those two teams. It was a rematch of the 2021 championship game. We all saw how that went down. We also saw how the Final Four went down between the Gators and the BIC, and we'll touch on that in just a few minutes. Yep. But, LJ, I wanted to get your thoughts on the U versus BIC, what that game means for both of these teams heading into this week, playing against 2 of the best teams from the Baltimore team.
Well, first of all, as far as with you're talking about the U, right?
Yeah.
That huge loss they had, 2 weeks ago, to BIC. Regardless of what anyone says, like you said, it was 2 powerhouse teams, and just they ran out of time. Yeah. Right, ran out of time. BIC played flawless football in that game. Now the U coming back, bouncing back. Playing against a hungry Baltimore team that's very stingy on defense. If I'll be honest with you, what the word on the street is that the jig is up and the cheat codes are out on the U, and the Patterson has been taking their notes, like you said, rewatching, bookmarking those games of Stadium. And I heard word on the street is Baltimore, they rented out like a little bar, and they've been replaying that game on Stadium all night. And apparently, and the word on the street is, you said Ace Boogies is playing, right?
Yeah, Ace John Gauze Jr. behind center for the Gators today.
Right.
And an interesting thing, Corey, you've quarterbacked the BIC before. You've played with those guys. You've played across from those guys. Courage Mosey moving from the running back position to tight end full-time. They're going with 3 wide receivers in the starting lineup, and we'll get to the starting lineup when we go to the throw-off. But Courage Mosey making that move from running back to tight end full-time. Carl Meisner, one of the people. And if you've never seen Courage Mosey run before, if you didn't see him 2 weeks ago and you don't dig through the crates, imagine one of the best power runners of his generation. Like you can say a Ricky Williams or an Edrin James, a guy who just goes right downfield. Ron Dane at the University of Wisconsin, for those older heads like us.
Before all the burgers, right?
Yes.
But Ron Dane didn't have no speed. But
that ability to run downfield and knock through tacklers, having that position change to tight end in such an open game. The A7FL, if you've never watched this before, 7-on-7 football. No pads, no helmets, all action. A lot of players are able to play multiple positions, except Corey because he's so good as a quarterback.
And so slow as a human.
Shots
And
early.
so slow as a human.
It's not even
I think to answer your question, you know, what's interesting about a player like Courage Mosey is he's been actually for a while the face of the A7FL because of the insane highlight runs that you've seen.
If you look at the logo right here, that's Courage Mosey running the ball downfield. And
it's because he's run his shoulder into people, and they've fallen on the ground, and he's looked at them in the face like he's Allen Iverson stepping over Tyronn Lue. There's moments in his career where he's shown that he's a star.
Yeah.
And he has the star power. He has the capability and the talent. But you know what he has that's better than a lot of those types of traits as a football player is the unselfishness to try to just want to win. And when you have a quarterback like Sterry Codrington, who is a very capable passer that we've seen yesterday against a great defense in the U. I mean, yesterday, 2 weeks ago. It feels like yesterday because we were just watching it, right? But 2 weeks ago, we saw that Sterry can throw. But one of the things that we knew going into even his premier debut as a rookie is that he can run.
Yes.
So taking Courage and adding him as a potential dump-off weapon, but also taking advantage of his elite level of blocking.
Right.
It's opening up the BIC offense that they can go against a team 2 weeks ago in the U and easily put up 50 points. And don't get it wrong. He still had, 8 carries for about 80 yards?
Let's take a look at the all-purpose yards 2 weeks ago for Courage Mosey. 141 all-purpose yards against the U. 78 of that rushing, 63 receiving.
That was just a guess. I said 80. I was 2 off. Sorry, guys.
And then with Sterry Codrington, talking about running and rushing, 486 total yards for Sterry Codrington, 271 in the air, 216 rushing.
And when you look at the stat line, it almost reminds me of like a University of Texas Vince Young, where it's just like, what are we supposed to do to this man?
How can we stop him?
And what's really awesome is that when he's at the top level of his game, he's just making it look really easy out there. And what he did 2 weeks ago against the U was really different from what the BIC were allowing him to do last year in the previous matchup against the Gators in the Final Four, where it's almost they took the ball out of Sterry's hands in the Final Four against the Gators, forced Courage, and ran the ball all but 2 times in the entire game, and also scored 40 points. So having that ability to take your quarterback and giving him the ball and say, win the game for us, and having that confidence, it shows in beating a previously undefeated for 3 years Patterson U team.
And you know what? When we return here on the A7FL Games of the Week, we're going to talk about the 2 teams playing in our first game. It's the Baltimore Gators versus the Trenton BIC. We break it down for you when we come back right here on Stadium. If you're watching along with us on Fight TV, we're in a quick commercial break. We'll be back with a preview of today's game in just a few moments' time. We're back here live at Abyssinia Stadium on a beautiful day here in Wilmington, Delaware. This is the A7FL Games of the Week. I'm Matt Ryan, joined by LJ Smith and Corey Hammond. We laid some of the foreground for this game. Let's give a little bit of the background of this game. Let's talk about some of the players to watch. First up, for the BIC, it's all about Sterry Codrington, guys. Last week we talked about it. 486 yards. He was the A7FL Rookie of the Year in 2021.
Yep.
A season that I believe was MVP caliber, not MVP worthy, because we still have Quattrell Huffin.
But caliber.
And speaking of worthy.
Yes, Ashante Worthy as well. But 2 weeks ago, he led the BIC to, I would say, to the biggest win since the 2016 championship game.
Absolutely. Not only was it the biggest win, but he has played, like I said, he himself in that game told the fans, told the rest of the league that there is no question.
And told the U.
Yeah.
Who,
Told the
I
U.
think early on in the game, I think they were actually saying, beat us.
Right.
And guess what he did?
And that was, and that was confusing. And that was the one thing that was confusing. Like, they were like, yeah, beat us with his arm. And I don't think that strategy, obviously the strategy didn't work.
No.
And we're going to see, and I'm looking forward to the end of the season, because what are they going to do, when they meet up again, see if they meet up again, what type of strategy. And one thing that you guys, that we talked about earlier, real quick here, about the transition with Courage going to tight end.
Yeah.
That's, the football game is not like it was, like you said, you mentioned Rondane, right? Mm-hmm. The game is evolving, right? So now the game is like it's a speed game.
Yeah, and
so
the A7FL is evolving.
Exactly.
You go a couple years ago, you got a team like the Chiefs, where their basic identity was, we're going to literally at times punch you in the face, and we're going to pound the rock. Now the 7v7 format and the open space is moving into this realm of, and phasing me out, these quarterbacks that become the running back and can get you the 200 yards rushing, but also deadly in the air, especially when you have wide receivers like Ashante Worthy and this new guy, Cizon the Mighty Mouse.
Right. Yeah, and Jason Sisson, a guy that a couple of weeks ago in week one of the A7FL season had a big coming out party. Mm-hmm. I don't think he was as effective. And that's the thing about the BIC offense, is that they're so spread out. You have Ashante Worthy, you have Sterry Codrington, you have Courage Mosey.
And you have Kason Campbell.
And you have Kason Campbell, too. You have Matt Riddick being able to float in and out. You still have Corey Price in the background.
So many weapons. You don't know who can have a big day.
But is that an embarrassment of riches, though? Is that too much for a team? Like we've seen in the NBA with the Brooklyn Nets, a somewhat similar situation to where if they don't have enough time on the field together, if they don't have enough time to gel, does it cost them like we saw it cost them in the 2021 championship game?
Well, think about the matchups though, because in basketball, there's one basketball, and you have to find a way to get it to that player. Where on the football field, someone has to play man, someone has to guard this guy. So no one's not going to have 5 solid defenders. So the best defender is going to guard this guy, second best defender is going to guard this guy. Who's going to guard the best? I can tell you right now, BIC's receivers it's been the strongest since 2016, and their best receiver, their third best receiver, is better than most third best receivers in the league. Do they have?
It's better than most first best receivers.
And we see them getting set up here.
So do they have 3 DBs? Does a team have 3 solid DBs to be able to contest with that? I don't think so.
And I think the answer to that is absolutely no. But when BIC faces the Gators, I don't think what we're asking is, do they have the DBs to match up to Ashante Worthy, Kason Campbell, and Cizon? I think the answer to that is obviously no. What the question we should be asking is their defensive line, that when we saw the Gators last on Stadium, they were facing the U, and they were putting immense pressure on Quattrell Huff.
Quattrell Huff, and I believe he got sacked about 6 times.
So that's going to be the question. I think if you're the Gators and you're looking at the matchup, you already know that you're not going to be able to cover these wide receivers for a long time. Mm-hmm. But if you can get pressure on the quarterback and make Sterry Codrington a lot less comfortable, maybe that's the way to kind of try to at least put a little bit of a damper on the floodgates that open up when BIC is on offense.
And Quattrell Huffin, the defending A7FL MVP, led the U to back-to-back championships. He's been sacked 10 times in 2 Game of the Week appearances so far this season.
Wow.
6 against the Gators.
Yikes.
6 against the Gators. So when you're looking at Sterry Codrington and you look at the BIC truncating their offensive line to Courage Mosey and 2 other players, I believe one of them is also John Columba, who's a big player and a big player that the head of the BIC is really, really pushing for. Carl Meisner has said he's a big weapon for them on the offensive line. And we're going to take a look right now when we look at Sterry Codrington getting ready on the field.
And Matt, and you know what, Matt, and not for nothing, like, so the passing you have been running tables, but you know what? Teams are just going to eventually adjust, right?
And you see the Gators, they've adjusted too. You've got John Gars Jr. You have a great level of talent on this team, and they have been a championship threat the last 4 years. And you see that last in week 2, that big sack there by Mays, and playing on both sides of the ball. Nick Mays, the mean machine.
The mean machine, yes, sir.
He's so dynamic on both sides of the ball, and do not let that fool you. Him and Snag Sosa, if you looked at our Instagram and you saw week 2, Snag Sosa on the defensive line, Baltimore's got some animals on that side of the line. And Corey, as a quarterback, setting up against a guy like that who's so ready to hop off the line and come after you, how does that affect your play? How does that affect your play calling, your check downs, things like that?
We were talking about watching film. If you watched the film of me 2 weeks ago against the Renegades, another former running back, now Snag Sosa is still a running back, former running back for the Renegades, Malik, the Predator, he was coming off really, really insanely quick around that right edge. And in the A7FL, the offensive line isn't 5 men, tackle, guard, center, guard, tackle. It's center, guard, tight end. So that change in the angles means that those fast guys can get to a quarterback that can't get away.
Right.
Like me.
It's like Von Miller. If you had someone with Von Miller's frame and the 40 time of a Deebo Samuel coming right at you.
And
so when
cutting into those angles.
So when they put Snags on defense, it's basically as that Von Miller like specialty pass rush role. But the thing about the Gators is Snags is also just as effective on the offensive side of the ball with that speed at the running back position, catching the ball out of the backfield. He's one of those X factors in today's game. If they can control him on offense and defense, BIC is going to feel really good.
Yeah.
And they should be feeling good. And there's Sterry Codrington right there on the field, the 2021 A7FL Offensive Rookie of the Year. In his senior season, a former New Jersey State High School Player of the Year, had 61 touchdowns, 41 of them rushing, 20 of them passing. He was the Divisional Offensive Player of the Year for the state of New Jersey.
Ashanti Worthy's crazy. Those high school stats are crazy for Ashanti Worthy.
For Codrington. Yeah, no, I was looking at the wrong one. He actually, thank you so much, Corey, for making me realize how stupid I am. But
I was going for the quick fix. You didn't have to call yourself out.
No, I'm self-honesty. 432 passing yards in his Game of the Week appearances so far this season. 328 rushing yards for Sterry Codrington. That's over 800 yards so far this season. 11 total touchdowns, 5 of them passing, 6 rushing. And has only been sacked and thrown 1 interception. So, guys, Sterry Codrington's going to be a problem. I think the biggest matchup today is Snag Sosa against Sterry Codrington and how we see that materialize. But we're going to see that when we come back here on Stadium. When we return here on the A7FL Games of the Week, no more of us talking, no more blabbing, no more falderall. It's time for some pro football right here in Wilmington. We'll be back with the throw-off and a whole lot more right here on Stadium. Do not deceive you. It is the A7FL Games of the Week. We are live from Abyssinia Stadium in beautiful Wilmington, Delaware. I'm Matt Ryan, joined by LJ Smith, Corey Hammond. And Corey, before we get to the coin toss and we get rocking and rolling with this game, in the break we were talking about where are the players to watch on the Baltimore Gators side?
come into this game, and then both games, come smashing together, because it's going to be a Baltimore, New Jersey type of day. We're gonna have a lot on the line. Not only are these games extremely important in the standings, but also as far as the rivalry between these Maryland and New Jersey teams. But when we talk about the Baltimore Gators, and since the inception of the team in this league, I think the first person and the most important person we need to talk about is John Gauze, a.k.a. Ace Boogie.
Ace Boogie.
One of, if not the best, dual-threat quarterback in the league. And in a lot of ways, guys, I feel like he was Sterry Codrington before Sterry Codrington even graduated high school.
And this is a guy who was not dressed in week 2.
And we missed him against the U, and although the GOAT, and we changed his name to the Satyr at quarterback, although we saw a great performance, we did not see the level of execution in the pass game that you should expect from John Gauze Jr. today, and that might be the difference in today's game versus what we saw a couple weeks ago.
And you take a look at Carlos Crosland, a.k.a. the GOAT, a.k.a. Opie. He was sacked 4 times against the Patterson U in week 2. So
I think it was a little unfair to expect him to naturally go in as a quarterback when he's more of a slasher playmaker at either wide receiver or slot.
He's an athlete, right?
But what he did is he showed the BIC maybe what the blueprint was going to be against the U.
Yeah.
And what we did see is with his athletic ability in the pocket, he was able to get free on some runs. Now, John Gauze Jr. can do that. And if you allow him to do that, he'll beat you. But if BIC's defense is mostly focused on keeping John Gauze from running, he's going to be throwing the ball all over the yard.
And let's talk a little bit about Carlos Crosland behind center. Again, in that game, went 8 for 26, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 163 yards. Filling in last minute, not necessarily the worst possible stat line. Not great, not something to write home about. But he also had 10 rushes for 101 yards. And when you could put that up against the Patterson U at any position, put 101 yards on him, all-purpose, 264 yards. That's a good day at the office.
And so just to extrapolate that out to the offense's capabilities, when they had their, we'll say backup in, now let's add the starter who has a lot more experience, a lot more accuracy, and a lot more savvy in calling plays as well. So we're going to look at John Gauze, Ace Boogie, but also I want to bring up one of me and LJ's favorite players, because he gives us something to talk about after the snap, is Matthews, a.k.a. the Super Saiyan.
My guy.
Matthews,
and although on your screen it's a really high frequency that isn't picked up, his bald head, when he makes a huge play, does get that yellow glow. Now, live, you can see it, so you might miss it, but you could feel it when you watch him after a great play.
The sensu bean kicks in.
Right, exactly.
and when he struggles, then we call him Krillin, but we'll ease up on the anime Dragon Ball Z references.
He's going to have to go Kid Buu today to defeat this Trenton BIC team, and I think that they're more confident now than they have been.
Well, and one of the things that we might miss is now that they beat the U, guys, that BIC feels like they're on the mountaintop and they're undefeated. The Gators are not a slouch team, and what they've shown on Stadium without their starting quarterback is not representative of who they are.
This is going to be a more indicative performance.
Is BIC overconfident as we see the coin toss? Matt will fill us in.
And you take a look. And Baltimore will defer. It'll be the BIC getting the ball first. Dangerous game, gentlemen. Dangerous game, because you're opening yourself up to Ashante Worthy getting the ball. And you look at beautiful Abyssinia Stadium. We walked in here today. It felt like walking into Notre Dame a little bit. Just like the beautiful archways, that long walk up the stairs here to the booth.
Yeah, I'm gonna refrain from saying the name of the stadium as much as possible, because I'm gonna trip up over that.
That's why I'm here.
Say it one more time.
Abyssinia Stadium. And I want to thank the lovely people at Salesium Academy, our hosts here today. We're on their campus. We are inside beautiful Abyssinia Stadium, named after Rocco Abyssinia, who's an important member of the Salesium community. And we want you to be a part of our community. So if you're watching us for the first time and you say, man, I don't know what this is, and you see this on Twitter all the time when you search A7FL, just people like, I've never seen this before. What is this? This is insanity. No, this is the future of pro football. In my opinion, we are the future of pro football, and we're bringing it to you here live on Stadium, and this is going to be a fun game. If you've never watched this before, Follow us across social media. Search the A7FL across your favorite social media platform, and be sure to let us know what you're thinking throughout the game. And also, let me know. I'm at MRyan Consulting on Twitter. Tell me I'm bad at my job. I welcome it. I welcome your letters. But that's LJ Smith. That's Corey Hammond. I am Matt Ryan, and we are here to bring you all of the action this afternoon as we get ready for the Trenton BIC. You see them getting ready on the sideline.
Yeah, and they're getting ready for the 3-on-1 throw-off. So people at home watching football, you know how the game starts. It's usually a kickoff. You got a European soccer player comes in, boots it out of the end zone, pretty much a wasted play. In the A7FL, these are the maybe pivotal moments in the game where you have 3 defenders trying to stop one individual runner with no blocking. And what we found out, guys, in this format is that the most exciting plays in the game, LJ, I think you would agree,
yes, sir,
a lot of times happen not only to start off games and halves, but they're untimed downs, which makes comebacks even more possible in this league.
And we've seen that so many times this season. We've seen it in week 1 and week 2, where this has been a part of it. And you are looking live at Abyssinia Stadium. The Baltimore Gators getting ready to play the Trenton BIC in our first of 2 games. We'll be back live at 4 p.m. as the Patterson U, the defending back-to-back A7FL champions, will face off against the Baltimore Rare Breed, a team that involves Ricardo Freeman. We'll talk about him in the 4 o'clock game, the Wolverine, who is a complete beast.
Yeah, he's an animal.
On the defensive side of the ball. The BIC will get the ball first, and they will have Ashante Worthy make it his way. The guy that I said earlier had 61 touchdowns, 41 of them rushing, 20 of them passing. He is the A7FL 2020 Rookie of the Year, the 2021 Divisional Offensive Player of the Year. In the game against the Patterson U, 133 receiving yards, but here's the big one. 140 yards returning.
That doesn't look like Ashanti back there.
That is not Ashante Worthy
That's
returning.
Sisson, potentially.
Jason Sisson, the
now,
Mighty Mouse.
If you're not having Ashanti back there, this is the one kid on their roster that I would rather have.
Here we go, folks, in the opening throw-off, and let's see what Sisson. Who's going to pick that up?
Oh!
See! Ah, boom!
And he does the quarterback. He does the old Brett Favre.
So
the hip slide.
So for the fans at home that don't realize, the rule on the throw-off is it has to, in the air, pass the 25, which it did. It got to the 24. Right. Then it bounced back to the 26. So a rookie in this league, Sisson, was almost unsure if he was supposed to pick it up, and luckily his instincts told him to grab that thing, and BIC misses the rare onside kick recover by the Gators, which would have been a huge potential disaster to start this game.
It would not have been a good thing, but let's take a look at the starting lineup for the visiting Trenton BIC. At quarterback will be Sterry Codrington, number 4, Ashante Worthy, Jason Sisson, and Kason Campbell, the wide receivers. On the line, it's K-Wack, Carnell Wachter, number J3, joined by Mark Gill and Tyler Patricio. On the line, it'll be 1st and 10, Codrington.
And sometimes lost is in the slot that just came out of the backfield, Umar Lewis, who has multiple touchdowns this year already with the packed lineup of BIC.
And the ball thrown deep on play 1 and out of the hands of the wide receiver. And that one was going to Speed Kills, number 1.
That's
Umar Lewis. And going out of play, missing on that one. An interesting change in the starting lineup, putting Umar Lewis in there.
Well, he's one of the rotation guys, so it's not necessarily that they're going to go away. As you see, they were just maybe taking a look at to take a shot with one of their fastest guys. At the back of his jersey, it says Speed Kills, and it does. But on 1st and 10, Codrington just misses. But even though that's a miss, and not every quarterback's going to complete every pass, now the Gators, their defense is woken up, and that might open up lanes for either Sterry himself or Courage, the running back, to find some room on the ground.
And the clock continues to run in the A7FL unless we're under 2 minutes in the second or the 4th quarter. Running back number 21 in motion.
That's Kason Campbell. Yeah, so they did the same look where they have the running back go down to the slot. Let's see if they can get a similar coverage that they were almost able to take advantage on 1st down.
And it will be Codrington under center, 3 wide receivers, 3 on the line. Codrington snaps. Codrington throws this one deep! Off the hands!
Drop that for that bunny.
And it's the exact same coverage that you see. You get the running back coming out of the backfield. That's Kason Campbell, who's he was the runner-up for Rookie of the Year last year, and he only lost to the quarterback that was throwing the ball. So he had a great season last year. So far, he's had a really good season this year. Just a shame that the ball's just out of his reach. He maybe should have caught that one, but it was, again, the same look. They go motion. You got Sly Boogie, number 1,
Corey,
getting absolutely torched from the Gators.
You know what, Corey? None of that. Forget all that, man. That's like the seventh pass he's dropped all season. I've seen him. I'm talking about money shots. I'm talking about in the hands. No, I need my.
Could be that sophomore slump though.
That's that slump.
It could be that 3rd and 10. 2 wide receivers, 4 on the line for Codrington.
Look at Ashanti at the bottom of the screen. I see a mismatch. Here goes balls up. What a pass! Woo! Hey! What a pass and what a catch.
And that was by Russ Cohen, a.k.a. Trey, to get the first down. And it'll be 1st and 10, a big gain on the first completion of the day for Codrington.
Well, they're made it clear what their offense is now. They're not lining up to run the ball like they did last year against this Gators team. You see, that's a great play by the quarterback because even though he lets go of the ball way before he gets hit, that was a free rusher, and there was not a lot of time. And as the time dwindled down, he found the open receiver before he made his break. And the anticipation Sterry Codrington just showed there is the biggest leap that I've seen from year 1 to year 2. And the Gators are going to have a long day if Sterry can keep this up.
He looks more confident in the pocket. It'll be 1st and 10, 12:09 left to go in the first CA7.
And you see the way that they're playing defense is BIC's allowing a free rusher. And it's Sterry's job a lot of the time to figure out how to get rid of that guy.
But I want an answer on this in a minute as we get a quick move there from Ashante Worthy. What's your thoughts on snap?
And Sterry Terry. And he got the speed there. A good tackle, great open field tackle there.
Yeah, that could have saved a lot of extra yards, and he still gets 4 yards on there. But you see the delayed blitz. Sterry was able to sneak away from it, and they're consistently taking running backs, shifting them out of the backfield to the wide receiver position, and they're usually using wide receivers, and they're getting favorable matchups. This time, the lefty quarterback has to go to his right, so it takes the throw out of the equation. But Sterry's a lot of times this year shown that he's capable of doing that. Great open field tackle by the Gators.
Corey, you were talking about it before. Codrington getting set in the pocket, is that limiting his development when they allow that free rusher? Wide receiver in motion, switching to the side, the snap.
Sterry Terry balls up. Another deep ball. Ashanti. Ooh, that's another one outside of the fingertips. Incomplete.
I don't know if he's just got a bad grip on the ball because the way the ball is leaving his hand, it's wobbling a little bit more than you expect from Sterry Codrington. But just to explain what you just asked me, Matt, they're not sending that extra guy now because it's not working. So, if on 3rd and 6, we've seen probably, 3 or 4 open receivers that Codrington has just missed. And as a quarterback facing this big Gators team next week, I'm licking my chops.
And it will be 3rd and 6.
Sterry Terry using
wide open in the middle.
Got a pass. Go. Good count though. For some reason I thought that was
that was Cohen again.
I thought that was the other one. Keyshawn gonna drop it.
Russ Cohen, a.k.a. Trey, matriculating the ball downfield. 10-09.
Now this BIC team is so deep that the Gators are focusing on the guys that are going to burn them.
Right.
And as Sterry gets away from the rush, you leave out the 5th man and the wide receiver depth chart, Cohen, who's coming across the field wide open.
Cohen got a lot of speed.
That's the kid that gives the mean mug every time, right? Yeah.
But is this for the BIC, their rope-a-dope? Utilize those screens, utilize those short passes.
Well, when you have a quarterback that you're confident in, so we can get to the next play, when you have a quarterback that you're confident in throwing the ball, if you throw it on 1st and 2nd and 3rd down, even if you miss on 1st and 2nd down like we just saw on both of those sets of downs, you still feel confident that on 3rd and long you can complete it because there's open receivers downfield, and worst case scenario, Sterry can get at least a 10 on his legs on the ground. 2
wide receivers at the bottom of your screen, 1 set up top. It'll be 1st and 10, 3 on the line, and we will have a whistle.
Let's see what the call on the field is, and that looks like a false start in the offense.
So one of the things for the rules that you have to understand is there's no center quarterback exchange. So they're having a false count like that, which is why you see the BIC backing up and not the Gators. This is a pin your ears back and go type of league. So for the Gators to go off sides there, they were drawn off sides by illegal cadence from the quarterback. So that's why it's 1st and 15.
It'll be 1st and 15. 2 wide receivers at the bottom of your screen. Shante Worthy up top. Codrington with not a lot of time.
Good defense. Ooh!
But that one there's a flag on the play. This one might come back.
So Sly Boogie on the interception today. On that play, we'll see what the penalty is, but the play was made by the defensive line getting their hand on Sterry's arm. He had open receivers down the field, and the reason it didn't reach is because the defensive line has been
defensive holding on the call, so we will.
So they get bailed out.
Yeah, they get salvation.
Now that's when you see it. The defense of the Gators is going to start, and it's really early in this game, and there's a lot of football left to be played. But the defensive line of the Gators is going to start looking at back because they did their job here.
And you
Great
see that
rush.
holding. You saw the holding from the middle of the field, but a beautiful intercepted. It was a defensive holding on the Baltimore Gators, their first penalty of the afternoon. Back-to-back penalties here.
And it seems no matter who BIC puts in at wide receiver, they're getting some open space against this Gators secondary. So it's really up to those three guys on the defensive front for the Gators to make their impact known. And it's hard to rush a running quarterback like Sterry Codrington because he changes the position that he's comfortable with. But also, if you miss him on that rush, you're maybe allowing a 40-yard touchdown.
You're creating a huge running lane for him, and you see Codrington setting things up, and the slot is worthy. Codrington links this one up!
Too much. Who's he throwing to in that one, man?
He was expecting Abby Mansoure, a.k.a. Baby Sav, to have the rocket fuel.
Yeah, but Sly Boogie, Sylvester Washington, who had the interception on that play, if you watch the coverage, he's looking at the quarterback. He's not even in man coverage truly on the receiver he's front of, and he just got absolutely smoked. If that was a better throw, guys, that's 6.
Yep. And it was 6:45.
Sterry's got to reel it in. I think he's a little amped from the great game 2 weeks ago. He's got to reel it in early on in the game, just like we use the metaphor of a boxing match. I think the adrenaline is still high. I think everybody's really, really happy to be in such a beautiful Abyssinia Stadium.
First down knockouts is what you're saying?
I think that, they've already eaten up 8.5 minutes of gameplay. So this has been an obscenely long drive, and we'll have the officials stop it here. But with 6:18 left to go, a nearly 9-minute drive from a team that does not put together long drives. They go for bang-bang plays. Sometimes off of the 3-on-1, they'll have 0-second drives. So when you look at how they're adjusting their offense to play against this defense, LJ, do you think that the Gators are going to be able to counteract this on the second drive, or is the BIC going to be able to utilize this?
Well, like you said, you threw a bunch of stats out he did earlier, right? One in a huge stat, you said he'd been sacked once. So after this drive, real quick, we'll talk about this here.
It'll be 2nd and 10. Clock continues to run. Codrington.
Oh, we got space. Whoa, that's for the money. Too easy. Touchdown.
That's the same coverage from Sly Washington, and that's a great touchdown. He's Mr. Clean.
Who was he guarding? Like, what kind of defense was that?
Ricky Tate with the touchdown, putting them up 6-0.
I think Matt Ryan could have caught that out there with that pass. Oh my goodness!
How dare you? I have hands.
Good hands.
A Sunset Park outside football greatest receiver of all time.
Well, you see here,
fat Jeremy
only
Shot.
2 men rushing. Flicks it out there, and when you give a quarterback a redo off of a missed touchdown. You better get ready to play offense, because that's a great throw from a quarterback that's shown that he's very capable. And we were talking about how long that drive lasted, guys, as we transition here into the A7 of L's version of an extra point. You have 2 opportunities, just for the people who are unfamiliar with rules. 2 opportunities. You can go for 1 at the 5 or 2 at the 10. BIC is going to go for 1 at the 5.
And with a 6-0 lead, 4 on the line, including Ashante Worthy set to the left. The snap. Throw. And that one will not land, but the Trenton BIC will get up on the board, and they will take the lead after a monstrous over 10-minute drive. The Trenton BIC will have the lead, and that when we return here on the A7FL Games of the Week, we're going to see what the Baltimore Gators and John Gauge Jr. can do. We'll be back with a whole lot more football right here live on Stadium in just a few moments. Stay where you are. We are here live from Abysinio Stadium in beautiful Wilmington, Delaware. The voice you're hearing is Matt Rhines. I'm joined by LJ Smith and Corey Hammond. It's the A7FL Games of the Week on Stadium. We are live around the world on WatchStadium.com. And a shout out to our friends over at Fight TV. It will be the Baltimore Gators getting the ball here down 6-0 after a big play, a long drive, and Sterry Codgerton capping that one off with a touchdown throw to Ricky Tate. And throwing the ball off now will be Abby Mansoure.
Fan favorite, my man DK back there. You guys know about him. He got a lot of shake and bake. Let's see if he can make a play in the open field. DK hitting that sideline. DK going? No. Nice head. I like the little head tackle. Nice little Fight TV head tackle there.
Yeah, and Mansoure threw the ball, and he'll get the tackle. It will be 1st and 10 for the Gators. This Gators team coming into today, taking a big loss against the Patterson U in week 2, but looking to rebound, still in the hunt for a shot at the A7FL playoffs.
Yep.
We had some games yesterday in Florida, and we'll go to the scoreboard a little bit later on in the broadcasting there. Nice headlock
wrong with that?
for the Gators.
There's the first wrestling reference.
Over under 7.5.
But the key there on the tackle is he avoided the horse collar, even though there's not a shoulder pad. So that's actually a really athletic play to get his arm around the front to bring him down, or it would have been an additional 15 yards.
And that's the thing about the A7FL. We put an emphasis on the wrap tackling. Wrap tackling is super important here in the A7FL. It's the way we play. And we
Safety number one. Yep.
Safety is paramount here. 4 on the line. You see the 2 big boys on the end for the Gators. One set up next to the quarterback. That's John Gauge Jr. The handoff. Trying to create an opportunity here, cutting through. That's number 2. That's, I believe, Jalen Tillman. But we'll get about a yard on the play, and it will be 2nd and 9.
We the fans. Where is Alex Verardi? I'm looking for this guy.
Well, they got 2 guys on the BIC defensive front.
I don't want to hear that.
They got Verardi, and then they got that guy X Chaos, crazy.
Well, let's take a look at the starting lineup. John Gauge Jr., a.k.a. Ace Boogie behind center. Angelo Lewis slated to start at running back. Sly Washington. Sly Boogie at wide receiver, joined by Carlos Crosland, who had to start in week 2 at quarterback. Nicholas Mays, the mean machine at tight end. Jimmy Alvarez and Gabriel Garcia filling out the line for the Gators here today.
Well, it's all going to be really up to that man right there with the ball in his hands. Ace Boogie's got to call a great game and play a great game to beat this BIC team.
1 wide receiver set, 1 set next to the quarterback and a running back. 4 on the line to snap.
Oh, play action. Oh, good pass. And that is Bone. I don't know. Bone.
That's Aote.
That's Aote, number 6.
No, that is Bone.
No, that's
that
Bone.
is Bone.
That's Bone. I know Bone.
We see a big guy. I was waiting for the guy to get down. That's Bone.
That's Bone. Yeah, Bone's
It's
bigger.
always thick boy season though in Baltimore though.
Hey, yo.
It's big boy season. Like it's
Well, when you send a tight end, on a play action like that, it's really hard for the linebackers to stay honest and not go straight for the run, and that's a great play fake by John Gauze. One of the benefits to his game. But BIC's defense right out there, as long as the guys that they got on the bench, they prove that they can hang with those big time offenses. Let's see what they can do against the Gators.
3:04 left to go in the first. 3rd and 6. Gators with only 2 more opportunities to get 6 yards. Wide receiver in motion. That's Ricardo Robinson. The snap and the handoff with time.
Good ball. What a pass. What a catch.
Sly Boogie making it happen there, and it'll be 1st and 10.
And that's one of the longest tenured, duos in this league. Ace Boogie, Sly Boogie. That's a timing route. You got the play action, which, the quarterback has to get the ball back into position to throw it. You got a guy in Malik Walker at the cornerback position who's got an intense speed, like elite level speed, but a great route, great throw, perfectly on time, and easily convert for the first down. And the chains are moving, and the Gators are just chomping slowly down the field.
BIC has not seen Ace Boogie in a while, so I'm surprised.
Not since the Final Four last year.
Yeah, so.
And he balled out.
Yeah.
And that will be Ricardo Robinson set up to the left, 1 wide receiver at the bottom of your screen. The handoff. And trying to step around, and then nothing but white around him, trying to strip away the ball. LJ, not a good run there, and I believe that was a snag on the play.
This Gators offense, no one cares about the run. They don't care. They know BIC's defense is sniffing runs out all day. Now, what is Gators going to do? Gators got to come back with that play action and dump it off.
Well, what you see is if you look at the BIC's defensive line 2 weeks ago and right now, you just look at the guys that they have out there, I wouldn't be trying to attack their edge because that was actually a big play, I think, by either Quan or JJ, who's not really known for his running stop ability. But if you're going to run at this BIC defense, it's probably better to take these smaller guys, these quicker guys, going straight up and down the field as Sly Boogie goes in motion.
Two picking up. He might be the Mike in a blitz here on 2nd and 14.
They haven't taken no out of this. No, none of that. Why do they keep those inside zones? No. Listen, there's a lot of big boys. Guys, as the season gets deeper into the season, as you get bigger and bigger, they get bigger. As you said, big boys. What you said?
Big boy season.
Big boy season, right? The guys keep running those inside zones. They're not doing that.
Well,
no.
and if the offensive line for the Gators isn't going to get a push, which they're not getting,
they're not.
Then what they're going to have to do is some type of misdirection and look for Sly Boogie on one of those. Maybe not on 3rd and 15, as you see Jason Cizon, who's a wide receiver. That's the type of speed we're talking about that's going to be coming off the edge at their quarterback.
And I think that this is the future of football. We're going to start seeing a lot more athletic defensive ends.
Well, you started maybe
like
10 years ago in the NFL.
The norm.
It's the
I
norm.
think it's going to become the norm fairly soon, if not already.
Yeah.
So 3rd and 15, it's a questionable.
Last play of the quarter, too. They're going to need to get this off.
Formational decision for the Gators there with 2 tight end. But I think they're worried about that rush that we've been talking about.
Well, they're going to have a fresh set of 15 minutes to figure this one out. And when we return here at Abyssinia Stadium, the Baltimore Gators are on a 3rd and 15. Are they going to be able to right the ship and tie this one up? Or the BIC are going to get the ball back and Ashante Worthy comes in on the 3-on-1? We'll find out in a moment on Stadium. We are back here. So start of the second quarter. The Trenton BIC leading the Baltimore Gators, who have 3rd and a whole lot left to try to turn it around. Here's the A7 NFL Games of the Week. I'm Matt Ryan, joined by Corey Hammond and LJ Smith.
Yes, sir.
It'll be 3rd and 15. Wide receiver in motion.
H Boogie got some time, and you guys know H Boogie got the, oh, what a pass. My man Bone. Bone is a big one. Bone keeps moving. Bone. It looks like a first down. What a pass. What a first down, sir.
The former Cobra, Bone, is known in this league as the biggest athlete you've ever seen. I've seen him moss people one-handed and also truck them in the same play.
Wow,
So
that's why I was wondering why y'all didn't have him as a player.
Let's take a look again on the replay.
Yeah.
You'll see it here. just pushing off the line. Gauze Jr. with enough time, and there's a late hit call on the field. And there's the Master Chief, as Corey likes to call him, trying to come in on that tackle. And then the big man just pressing him out of bounds.
And that's Jason Cizon, a mighty mouse, just squeaking at an elephant as it rolls by.
It's like a child not wanting to leave at the first day of kindergarten, doesn't want their mom to leave, so he's just holding on for dear life.
Well, that was a big 3rd and 15, and
huge.
John Gauze throughout his entire career, and a lot of times where Bone is at, that's Nick Mays, number 5.
Mm-hmm.
But when you got a guy like Bone who's maybe just as athletic, if not maybe a tiny bit more twitch in him, maybe not in his elder years. I'm maybe remembering the 27-year-old Bone, not the 33-year-old. But Gators, this drive is huge because what BIC did on their first drive has shown that there's a lot of options and a lot of opportunity out there, and they didn't even necessarily take advantage of every single one. So if the Gators are going to stay in this game and stay on pace with that offense that BIC has shown, this is a huge drive to keep the momentum firmly, at least in the middle or on their side.
Gauze Jr. under center in the shotgun, the handoff. Pushing through again with that power run, getting them nowhere.
And they're really committed to this run game, guys. I don't think it's shown that it's even going to work maybe even in the 4th quarter. But the play action is so huge for John Gauze. I think that they're going to have to continue to just pound it in there and make the BIC defense honor the run so that they can get some openings in the pass game on the play action.
But at what point do you just see you lost 5 yards on your first initial part of the drive?
I don't necessarily love doing it, but
they have to.
When I call plays, my teammates are telling me to run the ball too. So maybe,
Corey,
maybe I'm the wrong guy to ask.
But they have to, because keep in mind, if they just keep passing like that, they don't have. It's not the BIC offense.
And also the defensive rush for the BIC is going to come.
It's going to come like for blood.
Ears pinned back, ready to rock.
They'll really come for blood.
2nd and 10, set on the 30-yard line. Gauze Jr. in the shotgun.
Ace Boogie-Loo, folks. Oh, then here comes that pressure. Incomplete. And one thing that we have not mentioned, and I'm going to tell you guys right now, there is one weakness that Ace has, right? He has a his injury.
Yes, his size for playing in a no pads, all full contact league is the only question mark, and that's why he wasn't in against the U.
His Madden injury rating is like a 12. He gets a good hit. But again, I've seen him fight through it. He's tough.
He's a gamer. I love watching him play.
Yeah,
he's one of the best quarterbacks I've seen in the A7FL.
But certain injuries you just can't fight through. You know.
And the biggest enemy for any athlete is time.
Exactly.
No matter how, unless you're Tom Brady, and outside of that, whatever deal he made. There's no other way.
But NFL, you breathe on Tom Brady as a 50-yard play.
Yeah, he gets that star call. John Gauze gets some star calls, but when you get sacked and driven down after you're running away, there's no hiding your collarbones, guys.
Yeah.
3rd and 10, another second straight time in this drive. Will they have to go to a 3rd down? 2 wide receivers set, 1 in motion, and here comes the pressure.
Ace Boogie making plays, making circles, having fun. Woo! Balls up. Ace Boogie. Touchdown! Man, see, and that's the elusiveness that you look for. That's why you like it.
That's their running back coming out of the backfield on a play action, getting lost because the defensive linebacker, the 2nd level, they completely forgot about him. So that play is Ace Boogie just staying alive.
Now your thoughts. I want to know your thoughts, because you look excited on that one. You about to explode.
It was beautiful just the way that Gauze Jr. was able to find his way around there. It was like he was making a K-turn in a busy intersection. Let's take a look again on the replay. Cuts through the defenders, smooths out, finds it in motion, evades Master Chief, and then just right in the hip pocket. The safety wasn't up enough. It created the opportunity. Touchdown Gators, making this a 6-6 ball game. And right now, Baltimore can take a big lead. The BIC ate up a lot of clock, Corey, but when it counted, the Gators were able to get the ball.
Well, on 1st and 2nd down, BIC is way better than Gators so far in this game. On 3rd down, they just completely.
That sounds like hitter talk. Come on, that sounds like hitter talk. Come on.
No, but on 3rd down, they're not even there.
Well, let's take a look, my man, Ace Boogie. Whoa, is that good, ref?
That'll count.
That's good.
He didn't get touched.
That's right.
Just like that, Amani Skinner takes the lead against BIC. That's a great drive by the Gators, and this is going to be a great game, folks.
Throw some more shade at them. I know you want to do it. Go ahead, throw some more shade.
I said that they were terrible on 1st and 2nd down, which they were. On 3rd down, they were elite.
Look at Ace Boogie in this replay. And that's conversions. We talk about these conversions. The conversions are huge.
The conversions is what made the difference against the BIC U game, because if the U got 3 more conversions than they did, they would have won.
As we talked about, right? We talked about that during the game, how that's going to come down to.
And an interesting approach here, guys. Jason Sisson again will be taking the 3-on-1. And if you're watching the A7FL for the first time and you want to, watch some more of it, guess what? At 4 o'clock, we've got another game.
Oh, yeah.
The defending A7FL champion Patterson U will be taking on the Baltimore Rare Breed. 2 weeks ago, the Trenton BIC shocked the world, hit everybody with this big win over the BIC. Now the Patterson U look to take it from the Baltimore Rare Breed. Can they bounce back to 3-1, or the Rare Breed send the defending champions to 500? We'll find out at 4 p.m. right here on Stadium. Sisson will get the ball.
And here we go on that 3-1 throw-off. The most exciting time of the game. And my man Sisson got to make a play. And let's see if DK can get there. Oh, he's hucked to that sideline. Squeeze it. Oh, whoa. Hey.
It's out of bounds.
Back to your wrestling days. There you go.
Got a nice belly to back into the knockout. But I want to say.
That was a full suplex.
Yeah.
And as Sisson's turns are as tight as his fade. I will say that.
It is.
And he's got the speed, but one of the things about his game that we're going to have to learn as we continue to see him in this league as he's a rookie is his size a liability. And that time, once somebody got their hands on him, they were able to literally lift him off of the ground, and then the ball came popping out. So BIC lucky on both of those Sisson returns, because the first one, if you guys remember, was almost recovered by the Gators. And in this one, he almost gives it back to him on a fumble.
Well, one thing that Matt called out earlier, remember, Matt, you said earlier about how BIC, is like an abundance of riches that BIC has. In my opinion, I think that because this actually hurts them. Ashanti, most dangerous man on 3-1, he hasn't returned one yet.
They might be trying to save his legs. They have him.
Save his legs for what?
Also, there's 11:03 left to play. There's a lot of football left.
Last year, Ashanti Worthy put up 30 points by himself against me in the fourth quarter. So
that's true. And the snap by Codrington with time.
Wow!
Oh, right in the pocket.
Who's guarding that guy? Where's his number? Touchdown! BIC, and the gritty is on.
And Umar Lewis was the guy they went to on first down on the first drive, and on first down on the second drive, guess who they go to? So if you're the Gators, maybe take a look at who's guarding number one.
They might want to invest in maybe some zones, maybe a nice. Maybe a nice high safety look.
Somebody's bumping him. Somebody's playing too close. You got to give him a little cushion.
And in the first drive, guys, that throw, Sterry Codrington,
was
little overthrown.
That's right.
This time, he's so wide open, it's a little underthrown, and it doesn't matter.
There was good blocking, good time in the pocket, and he just was able to beat the defenders on the first and second level.
And Amani Skinner gets immediate layup number 13 for the Gators and blames his corner because he just got absolutely smoked.
Yo, my man, what happened? What happened?
He's brisket right now.
Happy Passover, everybody.
But great.
And also, if you're watching us around the world in the United States, watchstadium.com is where you want to be.
So this is a 2-point conversion they're attempting to go up.
Oh, and they will not be able to convert it as the cha-cha slide.
We'll see what the call is, because, again, you can't, as a quarterback with no center quarterback exchange, you can't force them off sides with cadence. So they elect to go for 2 from the 10-yard